Hi Grumblinos, it is Catherine, your favorite asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered chaos reader, and I'm starting a new vlog. I took a bit of a break from vlogging because I needed it for reasons in the other video. I'm not going to talk about it now because I will definitely cry. So if you didn't watch that video, I'm sorry you're out of the loop, but a very sad thing happened and I just haven't felt like vlogging. I did read like a little bit. I read Hero of the Ninth and Nona the Ninth during my break, mostly because there's a cat on my lap. He decided this was the exact ideal moment to climb on top of me. So I read those. I'm not going to really talk about those because I don't really think I can even recap them without spoiling the entire Locked Tomb series. So I read those, and they really need to get back because I'd had them from the library for a while. And I have books that I just got notifications for that are due very soon. So I really do need to read some books to get them back to the library. So this vlog has a theme. Oddly, the theme kind of presented itself unintentionally. Also it's May, so like two of the books don't really fit the theme overall. This is just a chaotic video. It is what it is. I'm doing my two Buzzword books, but I'm not going to read those first. They actually are not due back to the library for a little while longer. But the two books I have to read first had covers that kind of reminded me of each other a tiny bit. So overall, the concept of this vlog is just creepy covers and Buzzword Readathon for May. I picked up some books. You saw me buy one of them during Independent Bookstore Day. So I have that book. I'm gonna read that one last because I own it, but it will be in this vlog. It's The Cut. But it's over here. The first book I'm going to be reading is, if I don't drop my camera, is Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. And the only reason I'm reading it is because Jordaline mentioned it. A few people have, but Jordaline's description of it sounded chaotic. And I just feel like a short little weird sci-fi would be helpful right now, just for stuff to like get me through the day. Krista and I have also been watching Supernatural, so shout out to Gabby Reeds, because she'd mentioned she was watching it, and I used to be really big into Supernatural for a while. Not when it first came out, but I was like very into it in the like mid 2010s, but I only ever made it to season 11. So I had been mentioning it as like maybe something we could check out at some point, and we really needed like a distraction, especially at night. And so Krista was like, did you want to watch Supernatural? Like, we can try it. And I was like, okay. So we've been watching Supernatural on Peacock. And I say this not entirely lovingly. The music is all wrong, and it's really annoying me. And it's like a petty thing to pick up on right now, but like we were like watching an episode and I was like, this isn't the right music. And Krista was like, what? And I was like, the music is wrong. Like, it's wrong and it's really bothering me, which is so stupid. But like, I needed something to like focus on, and I was like, it's wrong. And I was like, and it's distracting, like it's not helping. So we actually did track down the entire series on DVD because according to the internet, the series has the correct music. It's solely the fact that Carry On My Wayward Son continues to not play. In all of the episodes I know it's supposed to be in, we're not very far, but we're in season 2. We like got to the end of season 1 and I was like, where's my song? And like Chris was looking at me and I was like, it's wrong. And I was just getting so upset about it. It was definitely projecting. Like, I had nothing to do with the show. Normally, I'm like, I can deal with a show not having the same music. Like, I can put up with it. I still am not. It was like in a very fragile state, and somehow that specific thing really set me off for a little bit. And I was like, I can't, it's wrong, it's wrong. And I thought I had the DVDs for season 1 and 2, and I don't anymore. I must have given them away or sold them or something. I don't know. But I couldn't find them. So we're watching on Peacock, and I was getting so irritated that Krista was like, I found it on Amazon, and it's all the seasons, and I'm just getting it. We were gonna get it in town, but no one had it. We've run into that a lot recently. Like, a bunch of places in town are like, they don't have physical media they used to have, or they're not getting books that they're supposed to get. I don't have a bookstore around me. This is just a casual aside. But like, they just don't have things in stock. So then you wind up having to order from a third party via the store, specifically Walmart. And it's just like weird. So she was just like, I found it online. And she was like, and it's like, we can return it if the discs are messed up or anything. So That's what we did. So yeah, so we're getting that. And when we get the DVDs, we're going to switch to the DVDs because let me tell you, some I'm just not in a state apparently to not hear Carry On My Wayward Son when it's supposed to play when we're watching Supernatural. This is just a rant. I'm not even really telling you about books. But yeah, all the books in this are going to be like horror thriller. A lot of them are newish releases. So yeah, you'll see them when I get to them. I have an order in mind, but I'm gonna be kind of loosey-goosey in case I change my mind. So I don't want to like present them all to you. Just know Spread Me is first. Also, yes, I know my makeup is chaos. I like rubbed my eye a bunch of times. So like one eye has more eyeliner on it than the other and it's like smudged everywhere. But I did just want to start the vlog. If I am emotional in some of it, it's just like we're still dealing and that's gonna be a while. And again, I'm not getting into details because I will cry. And I'll probably cry later in this video anyway because I'll probably talk to you about something that makes me cry. But I'm gonna get back to work. My lunch break is ending and that's the only reason I'm filming right now. So I'm gonna get back to work. I will read at some point, don't know when. Krista and I are running errands and then probably after work we'll watch Supernatural. Though I think we might have some other stuff to watch too, but we've really just been like watching Supernatural. We didn't even really watch Star Wars yesterday because the two of us were just kind of like, do you want to? Like we pulled out stuff to watch and like we talked about watching Maul Shadow Lord and I love Darth Maul, but I was like, I just don't right now. Like I can't watch new stuff. Besides like a handful of new episodes of things, like I just was like, I can't do a new series right now. So yeah, so eventually I'm going to watch Maul Shadow Lord. And you'll know because I'll pull out my Maul coffee mug and tell you that we're watching it. But I gotta go. I'm just rambling. Sorry. Just my brain is like not super focused. I have to get back in focus so I can do work stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna give myself a couple minutes, get back in the zone for work. But I will talk to you probably tonight, she said questioningly. I don't know. I'll talk to you later with updates on Spread Me and possibly on something else. Krista and I have some errands to run tonight and that may come into play in the vlog. We will see. But yeah, I will see ya as this vlog progresses, Gremolinos. Hi Gremolinos. So today's just gonna be an odd day. I'll get into details in a sec. I do want to tell you that I finished Spread Me. This is so short that there's no real way to talk to you about it like halfway through or anything. Sarah Gailey did an incredible job of writing what is truly a frightening fungus virus lichen, like L-Y-C-H-E-N, not werewolves, like horror that really focuses on like sexy times. There's a lot happening here. In this we're following primarily Kinsey. She's the boss of this like desert scientific experiment. They're basically locked in this like dome thing for years with very limited access to the outside world, and she has a team of, oh gosh, I'm counting, 1, 2, 5. There's a team of 5, and she's basically in charge. The team is comprised of a number of people. There are a couple of people who use they them pronouns. So I'm gonna forget their name. Domino and Mads use they them pronouns, and then there's Saskia, Jacques, and then someone whose name I keep forgetting. It starts with an N and I feel like it's Nkrumah, I think. They're all together, and what's interesting is that the crew themselves are kind of in a position where they're all kind of like casually sleeping with each other, no real commitments, but like they're all kind of isolated, so what else are you gonna do? And Kinsey's really not into it. She doesn't really know what her, like, if she identifies in a specific way or anything, but she's really not invested in like having sex with people. She's more interested in viruses, which is why this book takes many, many frightening turns for Kinsey and everyone around her. It does, so they do mention the thing, and then there's the idea that if you mention the thing in the station that you have to put money in like a don't say the thing jar. So that is something that comes up, and the idea of what is happening does kind of sort of lend into the thing, but also there's more horrifying stuff that happens near the end. There's body horror, there's a lot of horror. It's creepy as heck. Like, I was invested, I was very creeped out. So yeah, this was such a wild time. So many things are happening. If you read American Rapture and enjoyed that, in part, I think you would like this. I also think like What Moves the Dead, and like mushroom horror would make you invested in this. Also a little bit of Bloom in terms of like sex being tied into what's going on. But yeah, this was like a wildly fast read and also horrifying. The next book I'm going to read is Wolfworm, which I'll try and talk to you about that in parts. It's a T. Kingfisher book, and people said that it's super creepy and there's lots of bugs. So I'm reading that next, whenever I read next. So today is unexpectedly sad. I mean, every day is kind of sad. But Krista got a phone call at work. And if you watch the last video, I may actually cry. So if I cry, it's fine. But she got a call at work and Chloe is ready. We actually thought she wouldn't be ready until the end of the month. I guess that's typically the wait Krista has had in the past, but they called and said that she's ready for us. And I talked to people at work because their office closes kind of early and they're an hour away almost. And so I would have to leave at 3 o'clock to go. Like, we would both have to leave our works at 3 o'clock to get there before they close, and we really don't want her there any more than she has to be. So yeah, so we're picking her up later. I'm not going to show you that at all. Sorry, you're not coming. I don't think you need to see that or be involved in that. But yeah, so today is going to be very emotional. We had no idea. Krista really thought it would be end of the month that we would go and do pickup and stuff. But yeah, so it's today. I'm dealing with coverage stuff. I just wanted to take a break to about the book and let you know what I was reading next. I know that was a very brief recap. I'm talking about books now to focus myself because I still have to work, because I'm not taking a lunch break since I'm leaving early. So yeah, just unexpected. I mean, I'm glad that we can go get her, but also like it's really sad. Yeah, so it's just gonna be an emotional day. Also I'm sick, so I think it's an upper respiratory infection. I'm on antibiotics because I've been coughing stuff up more than normal. So yeah, just, you didn't need to know that either, but I'm telling you because again, I'm trying to focus on other things for a sec so I can like center myself. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll talk to you about Wolfworm when I read it. Also, I'm wearing the sweatshirt. It's a duplicate of a sweatshirt I got for Krista. One had a printing error, like there was something on it. All the printing was fine, but there was something on the sleeve. And she has that one, but I'm gonna go. Okay, I will talk to you probably not until tomorrow. If I even talk to you tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, I will update you when I have something to update you on that is book related. Yeah, so talk to you tomorrow-ish, Grumelinos. Hello, Grumelinos. Yes, I'm back on the couch. And yes, that is a hedgehog toy behind me right there. Kira tried to de-stuff it, so it's hiding out up there. It is the next day. I did tell you I was not going to talk to you until the next day. It's actually the afternoon, it's my lunch break. I'm drinking my Diet Coke out of my coffee mug because I felt like it. But yeah, so yesterday after we went out, I just like truly, that we got Chloe home. We got everything set up. She's with her sisters. So Krista had 3 Rottweilers before we got Chloe together. So Krista, just brief recap of Krista and Rottweilers. She had Willow when she was in college. I never met Willow. And then I did meet Belle and Lily. Belle sadly passed like right near when I moved in with Krista. And then Lily passed a little bit after we got married. And Chloe had met Lily, but she hadn't met Belle. But we have like a little memorial area for them in the house, and so Chloe's up there with them, and some of her favorite toys are up there. And they also did a bunch of stuff, like, we had no idea what was going on. Like, basically the vet said they would take care of everything, and because Krista was like, I really want a paw print, but they actually gave us two. So they did like a ceramic paw print, and then like an ink paw print, so we have all of that up there. And then they added in a bunch of other very like sweet stuff, but just like very odd stuff. But we put all of the like pertinent stuff. I might show you actually just the area. Maybe. I don't know when I'll do that. It's up pretty high. I actually could show you from here, I think. I'll show you after this clip. But yeah, so we got her situated, and we also ordered steak. So anytime Chloe had like a big vet visit, I would make steak, or we would get steak. And so we got Longhorn, so I wouldn't have to cook. And we did Longhorn, and we drank truly terrible wine. But the reason for it is there's a brand of wine called Chloe. And we have in the past bought like sparkling Chloe, and we would say it was Chloe's wine label, because like, oh, Chloe, you make wine. And the sparkling was fine, but they didn't have any, the liquor store that we would always get it from. And so the guy was like, oh, I have this. And it was like 80 calorie Pinot Grigio, and it was truly awful. It definitely gave me a hangover. It just like was not good. But we drank it in honor of Chloe. So we had like a little Chloe celebrating her night. And we gave Karen and Brittany a teeny tiny piece of filet mignon each, because there's a lot of butter on it and stuff. So they each got a little piece. But oh, I knew I was gonna cough. Sorry, I still have like the weird respiratory infection thing, and because I'm asthmatic, it sometimes acts up, but like on its own, it's a whole thing. But on top of that, which was like emotional, like during the day yesterday, Bruni kept getting the hiccups, and like he gets the hiccups, he's gotten them before because he plays with squeak toys, so sometimes he'll squeak them too much, and then he takes in too much air, and he'll hiccup for a couple minutes, and then he'll stop. Yesterday he kept hiccuping, and he would not stop. Like, he couldn't stop. Like, he would stop for a couple minutes and start again, and he finally like panicked. He got so panicked that he was like running around the living room while hiccuping and threw up. But once he threw up, he stopped hiccuping. Like, and we're like, okay, not great, but also he was having like a panic attack on top of the hiccups. So we got him situated. We're like, okay, you just have to rest. Like, you have to rest. So he rested for the rest of the night, and they kept like sporadically coming back. And then they would stop. Like, he slept and they were fine, but then he woke up in the middle of the night hiccuping, and I was like, oh my god. And Krista was like, because neither one of us has had, besides him, like, we've never run into this before, and normally they go away. And so I wound up calling his vet, which is an in-town vet. Like, it's a different, we take, it's a whole thing. But I called that vet, and they were like, oh my gosh, we'll like get the vet tech. I talked to the vet tech, and they basically were like, just like humans, we can't do anything for hiccups. They did like just say basically like keep him away from squeak toys for a little bit and try and keep him like low activity, just like give his diaphragm and like all of that area a break. He may have taken in too much air. He could have an irritated stomach. For some dogs, I guess, that can give them the hiccups. So he could, I know for a fact he ate a tiny piece of a toy, and he does that. He's done that before, and it's never been a problem, and this has not happened. And he's a big dog, so like a small piece of a toy will pass. He'll be fine. So that might be bothering his stomach. So we're just keeping an eye on him. He's been eating, drinking, going to the bathroom. Everything's been totally normal except the stupid hiccups. He finally seems to have calmed down. But like, I called him this morning and I was like, he just keeps hiccuping. But he basically stopped. The only times he's hiccuped today are he was barking at something, and then after he barked, he hiccuped. And then he got excited that Krista came home and he hiccuped. And Krista was basically like, I don't want to overexcite you, because right now it's only if he gets overly excited he hiccups. So that's a whole thing. Yeah. Anyway, book. Brain. My brain literally like fell out of my head for a sec. So I've read some of Wolfworm, and ta-da, this Wolfworm. It is following, I'm gonna forget her name because it's in first person. Sonia. We're following Sonia Wilson, who is a like illustrator, a scientific illustrator, and she's been hired by, is it Harlan? I think it's Harlan. I'm double checking. Holder, don't ask me why. Hired by a man named Dr. Holder, who basically like forgot to do anything to prepare for her arrival. And she shows up and she does meet the staff. Oh my gosh, please have her name on here. It just says the housekeeper. Oh my gosh. Well, it's set in North Carolina in 1899. And oh my gosh, I'm gonna look up the name because Mrs. Kent. There we go. I was like, I know it. So Mrs. Kent is basically the first person she meets once she arrives at the house. And the entire thing is so far us acting as Sonia. Oh my gosh. I keep wanting to say Wilson because admittedly the story is reading very similarly to me to the Sworn Soldier series, which I love that series, so I have no complaints. But it's making me think that if we were reading the Sworn Soldier series, but from the point of view of, I cannot remember her name, but there's a woman in it who is a science illustrator, but she draws mushrooms. Like, that is what she does. This character reminds me of her, but I keep wanting to say Wilson because it just feels like a name that fits the character. So we are following her. She previously did scientific illustration work for her father, but her father has passed and she needs this job. But like, she finds out some very weird things about the area. There's something about like a bloodsucker, blood stealer, that has been not cited, but like has been told folklorically about in the area for years. And she's like, what the heck? And like her boss is doing weird stuff. And it's very interesting. And I know it gets more buggy. I'm on page 107, which is chapter, or I guess 108. I'm on chapter 9. So far, the bug element hasn't freaked me out very much. I'm sure it gets grosser, is what I'm assuming. So far, it's not too bad. We are talking about like bug specimens a lot. But what is so weird for me is my dad is a geologist, and geologist, paleontologist, and he would do a yearly trip to the Cleveland Museum. I think it's Cleveland Science Museum. I'm gonna call it the wrong thing. The Cleveland Museum of Natural History. There we go. I knew it would come to me. So he would do a yearly trip, and he would typically bring me, occasionally like my mom would come, my brother and sister would come, but I used to go all the time. And part of the fun thing and the reason to go is that when that trip goes, they get a behind the scenes tour of the museum, and a portion of that tour involves going through the entire entomology department as well as the taxidermy department. So you would like walk around all the preserved specimens through like that the museum has. So like she's talking about the library that her boss has of insects, and I'm like, oh, I can totally picture that because I've actually seen that before. And like they would show stuff, and there would be preserved specimens in like jars and all of that. So I'm not creeped out by any of that, which is why I know this must get creepier. Because like so far the bug stuff, like a bug was on her that was very big and very weird, and her boss basically was like, oh well, those lay eggs on things, and she was like, what? Because it sounded like it could kill her. She was like, he's like, bah, it's fine. So like some of that is a little odd, and she's like seen some animals acting oddly, but like the bug stuff so far not creeping me out. Just because I've like seen it, so even imagining it in my head isn't creeping me out. And I always thought the bug room and the taxidermy room were really cool. Do I like bugs in real life? No. She mentions June bugs, and I'm like, oh no. So I am enjoying it so far. I will probably continue to call her character Wilson, even though her gosh dang name is Sonia, but I just keep wanting to say Wilson, because it's her last name. But I am very much enjoying it. I definitely get, Sworn Soldier from this. So if you like the Sworn Soldier series, you will definitely like this one, I think. It is very similar in reading style to me. T. Kingfisher has a very strong voice, but this one reads so similarly to me, which again, I appreciate. So yeah, I am enjoying myself. I am prepared for it to get grosser. I know this clip was very long and there was coughing and other assorted sounds, but yes, I am enjoying it so far. I am curious to see how it ends. I don't know that I'm going to get much reading done tonight, primarily because we need to mow all of our property, which you would think is not a lot. We don't live like in a rural area. We used to have, like Krista used to own a house in the country, but we had to move, and like we needed a riding mower for that. But here we just have a push mower, but like we just have we have to do curtilage for our backyard, and it's all very goofy. So yeah. Also the antibiotics, even though I took them this morning, are making my stomach still a little wonky. So like I'll be totally fine, and then I'll feel kind of stomach upset. So if you notice me kind of being like, ooh, it's the antibiotic making my stomach upset. Like I'm not gonna get sick, but it's just like making my stomach feel kind of like bleh. But yeah, but we have to mow. Thankfully it's sunny, so the grass has dried out, but it's cold. It's been raining for days. But we have to mow. We also have a few house things we have to do today. So yeah, so I probably won't talk to you again until tomorrow. But I'm gonna go. So I'll talk to you when I finish wool form, will be the next time I check in. Because I don't really need to update you on grass mowing and all that jazz. So I will talk to you when wool form is done, Gremolinos. Also, hi, I completely forgot that I said I was going to show you this. Can I zoom? I always forget how well my zoom works. Oh, look at that. Zoomerific. So this is the area I was talking about. It looks, I know it probably looks very goofy. Right now we're waiting on a photo of Willow. Krista didn't really have like a cell phone back then, so she doesn't, like, she has actual photos of Willow, but they're in boxes. So we found a way to get one printed, but it hasn't come yet. So right now that little mummy Roddy, who's very cute and I think works very well, is just hanging out with her as like a representation of Willow. But there are pictures, they're kind of blocked now, of everyone. They're like artist renderings Krista got. And then that's all there. And yes, I understand there's Halloween to the side. You know, you put stuff where you put stuff. That's up there mostly because we had to move it kind of urgently, the Halloween stuff, when we reconfigured our living room. So that's just where it wound up. But that is the little area I was talking about. Also, I'm sorry if all of this is making people sad, but also Krista and I are both still sad. And this is something that's going on, and we're dealing with it, and you're going to hear about it. So I'm sorry if it makes you sad, but also sometimes life is sad. But yeah, so that's all there. And then those are some of Chloe's favorite toys. So her sleeping nuggie, the one that was very important, and you've heard me talk about it in other videos because I would have to get it for her if it fell off the bed. Sunglasses nuggie up there is her, like, it was her downstairs toy, so she would hang out with that nuggie, and she and Krista would play with it. And then Party Capybara is holding the paw print, and when Chloe was super excited because it has a bunch of squeakers, she would grab Party Capybara and she would like squeak him around and run around. So he's up there with her and also holding her little paw. And then there's like the little ceramic paw print, so it's all up there. But I said I would show you, so I'm showing you. I have to remember to unzoom my camera. But there you go. That's the little area I was talking about. I'll get back to possibly happier things in the next clip when I am done with Wolfworm. But yeah, so I just thought I would show you. Talk to you sometime tomorrow, Gremolinos. Hi, Gremolinos. You'll get a break from this couch soon, I promise. Mostly because I am actually supposed to move back up to my office soon. Though I may, when the summer gets very hot, see if I can still work down here, because my office is a sweat box in the summer, but it's kind of cool right now. It's mostly because I'm supposed to have someone do some stuff, and I need to make sure that my Wi-Fi connection is like super solid, so I basically have to plug my computer into the router for hardwiredness. Anyway, you don't really need to know all of that. Just know you'll probably be seeing The Office more, but maybe I'll read a ton over the weekend and you won't see The Office until another video. I don't know yet. But I'm here, one, because I have a cool coffee mug. You're seeing the coffee mug first. I did finish my book, but I got this. I've had this for a while. I don't use it very often, mostly because you can't microwave it at all. But it's so cool. It says Black Cat Magic. It's the same on both sides, which is fun. And it's like this sparkly purple. And I am wearing my Salem, Massachusetts sweatshirt. I felt like it fit the theme. So I finished Wolfworm, and I'm going to sound probably, I love this. I did very much enjoy this. I really liked following Stoney Wilson. I loved the way the story went. It was twisty for sure. And it did very much feel like the Sworn Soldier series, and I really love that series. So I just very much enjoyed this. I loved that it really just like felt very set in like North Carolina. Like I could feel what we were talking about. And it was just like so interesting. The premise was very cool, also very creepy. I, though, was not as creeped out as most people, and I know why. I very clearly know why. So this does include some body horror, and body horror with bugs. And the issue that I ran into is, while I did find it very creepy, it all reminded me of Hannibal season 1. I think it's season 1. So there are episodes of Hannibal with a lot of body horror. There are. If you haven't watched the Hannibal show, that was previously on NBC, you need to watch it. Adamantly. I'm very adamant you watch it. In 2 of the episodes, so there is one episode where a human is turned into a beehive, which is horrifying, but there are a lot of bugs in and on that human's body, and like the body horror mentioned in this, while still creepy and different, it's not the same thing, with the animals and some other things, it truly reminded me of that, and I was like, oh, okay, I can picture that, but also I like, it's not frightening me because I have like a fictional concept I can compare it to. There is also, so there's a section that does involve body horror additionally, that reminded me of another Hannibal episode where someone has made human mushroom farms, and I'm not going to get into detail for that, just know that like mushroom people, and that episode is frightening as heck. Like it opens, the bodies appear dead but are perhaps not dead, and like it's a really creepy episode, like so creepy, but because I had that to connect some elements of scenes to, I was not as creeped out as I think most people are, which made me feel wildly morbid. I was like, am I just weird? I'm weird, right? Like I'm weird. So this reiterated that I am a weird person, because I wasn't as creeped out as I thought I was gonna be. Now again, bugs under skin and like bug stuff, very gross. Still very gross. I'm not saying it's not gross, and if that was happening to me, or if I thought it could happen to me, ugh, yeah. But my brain was just like, Hannibal! This is Hannibal! And so I was fine. Again, I have watched certain seasons of Hannibal so many times, and I know for a fact that I watched those episodes so consistently, because at one point I watched like the first 2 seasons basically over and over, that I had fallen asleep with them on before. So just like keep that in mind, that I am a weird person, okay? I did still really, really enjoy this. I would love to see more of Sonia, but I don't think that's gonna happen. This does feel like a standalone, though in theory, maybe, because they discuss botanical stuff, and like other things that could happen. But so like the idea of naturalists doing more work that becomes frightening could occur, but I feel like with the Sworn Soldier series already in existence, unless we decide to like bring these characters over, and not even these characters, like the setting over, or like the concepts of, I mean, we kind of already did that with Appalachia in the last one. So like, I don't think this is gonna be a series. I think this is a standalone. This isn't gonna like mutate into the Sonia Wilson series, though I would read that. But yeah, it was very good. It is very creepy. There are so many creepy things that happen that you're not expecting. And the twist was a fun time. And I'm not even gonna like hint at what that could be. But yeah, the body horror just didn't get me as much, solely because of Hannibal. Like I swear to you, if I had never seen the human beehive episode or the mushroom people episode, I would have been very creeped out. But as I had those in my brain, as a thing I have consumed more than once, my body and brain were just kind of like, and we're rolling. Oh, this is creepy. You're good. It's fine. It's totally okay. Which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, but still, love a tea kingfisher. Especially love these like southern, sorry, like Southern America ones. I really liked the most recent Sworn Soldier. Oh gosh, I forget what it's called right now. I'm sorry. I always just remember What Moves the Dead, because I really, really like that one. And that is also technically, it's inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. Sorry, I'm not gonna get into that. But like that one is also very, like, I just like really enjoyed this, and this was just like a fun new take on what felt like familiar territory, so I definitely recommend. Also, you'll probably be more creeped out if you're not weird like me, so just take that into account when you're reading it. I have decided for the next book, so this is one of my Buzzword books, and I picked it because it has flowers on the front, and there's flowers on the front of Wolfworm. So this is Make Me a Monster by Kaylin Bayron. Ta-da! And I picked that for the making prompt, but I didn't find it myself. So because it was making, I was just like struggling. Like I could not figure out a book. I kind of just wanted to like come upon a book, but like I just could not. For some reason I was having the worst time. I also grief, so like my brain was not fully functioning. The other book that I picked was so much easier, the border book, which I'll read after this one, but that one was just easy, like bing bang boom, done. Making was really tripping me up, and I watched Kayla's video and I actually found 2 books that had made in the title, but for some reason I thought you couldn't do made, so I put both of them back. Like I put both of these books back, and I could have grabbed them. I could have, but what I wound up doing was fun. So my library is weird. So all adult fiction, regardless of genre, is mixed up in alphabetical order. Like you can only find books via alphabetical order. It's the worst, and I hate it, because you can't browse the genre. You have to browse, like you can't browse really, unless you're like looking for a specific author, or you're fine just like going off of covers, which is okay, but also still, I wish it was divided up by genre, and it's not. So after walking around for about probably 10 minutes, poor Krista was in the car. My wife was just like sitting in the car on her phone, I think looking at football stuff to like pass the time because I was taking forever. I went up to the reference desk librarian and I was like, hey, I am doing a reading challenge and I need a book that has make or making in the title. I'm not very picky. Like it could be adult, it could be YA, any genre is fine, but I do want fiction. And she was like, oh yeah, I can do that. So she just did this like, and she was like, I'll make sure it's in the library so you can just grab it while you're here. And I was like, okay, perfect. So she did like a whole big search on her end, and she would like go through she went through a couple titles and read me parts of the synopses to see if I would be interested. And when she got to Make Me a Monster, she was like, okay, this one's Make Me a Monster. And she was like, it's in the YA section. And this is the summary. And so she actually read it to me. I'm not going to read you the whole thing. But I will read you the top that says, Mika is used to death. After all, it's the family business. And then below that, there's a big synopsis, but there's like the white text around it. It says, the dead don't seem to be staying dead. And I was like, okay, that sounds very cool. It's in the YA section. It'll be a quick, easy read. And the cover is actually very cool. I didn't see the cover until I grabbed it, but like it's presumably our main character, Mika. I think it's Mika, surrounded by blackish purple roses, which is like very cool. And she looks kind of like eerie. So I'm very curious to read it. It was so helpful that the reference librarian was available, because she was like, yeah, I can help you out. And so she did that. And so this is specifically found for me by the reference librarian. So shout out to her. I didn't even ask her name. She had a name tag on too. But I'm gonna drink my coffee. It's my lunch break. I actually have to go weed whack. It's a whole weird day. We did mow the lawn yesterday, but the backyard, which doesn't have a lot of grass because of like flooding and snow and dogs, they run around and it's a whole thing. It's fine. But we just needed to weed whack some spots in the backyard, and the 2 batteries for the weed whacker completely died. So I did like the tiniest patch and that was it. So I need to do that. So I'm using my lunch break to do that real quick. But it won't take me my full lunch break. So I thought I would do this really quick and then, go do that. And then it's just very awkward because I'm going to wind up eating at my desk later, because I won't be able to take lunch. Like I won't be able to eat when I take my lunch. And then by the time Krista comes with food, because she's bringing me lunch, it'll be after I can take a lunch break. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs. It's very weird. But I'm just going to eat at my desk and work. So yeah, but that's the update. I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to read Make Me a Monster. And yeah, I'm kind of hoping to finish this fairly quickly, so you might only get a when I'm done with the book update, just because it's YA and it's not like a chunky YA, so I think I'll be able to finish it pretty fast. And yeah, so I'll fill you in when I have updates, probably at the end of the book. So talk to you later, Grumbly Nose, when I'm probably not on this couch. Probably. Hello, Grumbly Nose. I spent most of my morning upstairs. I just took Kira and Bruni out for their dentist out. It's like their favorite out. They get their favorite treat. But I just took them out and then pop back upstairs. The only reason they're not actually in here is I had to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I left them in the bedroom, but I left the door cracked because the cats were in here. They both ran downstairs. And I was like, okay, I'll see you down there. They're fine. We have a gate on the living room, so they can't like get out of the living room into like kitchen stuff. But so I did outs. But I have an update on Make Me a Monster because I read the whole thing today. I really started it this morning and I just read the whole thing. It's YA, so it didn't take me very long. I will say the only reason I'm home, I am not going to get into how convoluted and confused I am by these plans, but Krista's sister, so like Krista wanted to plan something for Mother's Day with her mom and her sister to like try and have like a nice little moment with the two of them. They started planning it on Easter, like at the Easter breakfast thing we went to. In that conversation, her sister said that it would be her sister, her mom, and Krista. And then the plans they made, Krista couldn't actually do because they wanted to go to a greenhouse. And Krista is wildly allergic to flowers. So Krista basically was like, okay, I guess I'm not going. Like, have fun. She bought her mom a gift card. Like, she even like went into the flower place for 5 minutes. She almost had an asthma attack when she did that. She got this gift card for her mom. She already gave her mom the gift card so she'd have it for today. And we thought that was like it. Like, that was like they were just doing that. Well, then earlier this week, Krista's mom, like, yeah, Krista was just like, I'm gonna like try and see what's going on, because at a certain point her sister said, oh, we're doing a breakfast. And Krista was like, okay, but we didn't know if we could go, like she could go. And then her mom messaged her about Mother's Day and then said like, oh yeah, we're having breakfast at 10:30 on Saturday. And again, I will reiterate, the original plan that was presented at Easter, and to my knowledge, the entire time, it was just going to be like a mom's day, like Krista and her sister and her mom. Like, that was the whole plan. And Krista called me at 11:30 because she'd been at this breakfast for like a long time. And she's like, okay, so you were supposed to come. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, no one invited me. No one mentioned me. The plan was always the three of you. That was the reiterated plan at the Easter thing. And then no one invited me subsequently. And she was like, yeah, except her sister brought her husband. So her mom can't drive right now, or couldn't drive. So we thought that Krista's dad was like driving the mom to the little diner that they were going to. No, like everyone was supposed to go. And I was like, you can't expect me to know I'm invited without inviting me. Like, I'm not a mind reader. I very specifically actually paid attention when you made the plans at Easter, and those plans basically excluded everyone, including my wife, who asked about setting up a Mother's Day thing. So I don't know why I was supposed to know. Also, I couldn't have gone. Krista wound up telling them that. She was like, oh, Catherine was invited? And they were like, of course Catherine was invited. And I'm like, I wasn't invited, but okay, good cover that you're just acting like this whole thing was planned. Also, it just shows that no one communicates. Anyway, this is my tiny rant about this. But Krista basically was like, Catherine just isn't coming. Like, she was like, apparently it's my fault you weren't invited. And I was like, they didn't invite me. You can't plan a sisters and mom day and then decide I'm invited without inviting me. But it was good. I hung out with the pups and the cats, and I read my book, and Krista just told them I wasn't coming, which also I'm fine with. But into Make Me a Monster. So this is a very grief focused book, which I should have been expecting. I really should have. The premise is a little different than I anticipated from the synopsis. So the dead are not staying dead, but it is very specifically certain dead. So we're following Mika. She does work at a funeral home, and it's like her family funeral home. And she's actually she's the youngest person in Ithaca, New York to receive a certification to be an assistant, like, mortuary person. So she spends all of her time really helping her mom, and in part her dad, prepare their guests for their final arrangements, which, whew, all of that, like, I was able to distance myself from that a bit. I think in part because we have actually brought Chloe home. Some of it does get very emotional as we delve into why people would be brought back, what's going on. I really did, like, it was really interesting. I want to see how much they even say. yeah, I'm not really gonna tell you. It does get incredibly dramatic because there's something going on that Mika isn't aware of. And it's like sneaky and suspicious, but also frightening because there are people following Mika. And this ties in to something that's going on with her family and has been going on in relationship to her family for generations. And that was very interesting. The opening of the book does have a quote from Frankenstein, and I will say that does become key, like that some elements of Frankenstein are key to the plot, but it is very interesting. We are introduced to Mika, her boyfriend Noah, and then two other friends. It's like Sin and Caleb. Two of the friends aren't in the book after like the last 100 pages. Nothing has happened to them. They're just like not in it. They're not core to the plot anymore. Because Mika's life has changed. But Mika is herself dealing with a lot of grief, and she's also dealing with a nightmare that causes her to feel grief towards her mother. But like her family just keeps being like, oh, that nightmare is horrible. Like we should get you to another doctor, because she's apparently seen a therapist for this nightmare before. But yeah, the story is very interesting. Concepts of it are very cool. It reminded me I'm going to say a bit, for odd reasons, and I will not expound on this, to Pushing Daisies, and that's all I will say. I just thought it was a well done YA book. The ending with like the final action moments threw me off a little, because there's a lot of names kind of dropped on you at once, and I am notoriously bad with names. So that threw me off a little, but I still was enjoying myself. And the ending does kind of leave you in a bit of oh, I knew I was gonna cough. Dang it, asthma. But it does leave you a bit in like what could happen next. There we go. I will say, because I knew the name sounded familiar and I couldn't figure out why, Bayron wrote You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, and I really liked You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. And I will say the ending of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight does a similar thing in terms of like leaving you kind of on edge. And I do think aspects of this story are like, if you've read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, you will see some like mimicked tropes or like mimicked ideas in a good way. It all works very well, but this was much more personal. It really ties very specifically into family and what you will do for family and how a family can survive certain events. So I thought it was really well done. I enjoyed it, and this does cross off my buzzword prompt for make. So I've got that one done, which means we're on to the next book, which I am going to take downstairs, but I don't think I'm going to start it. The next one is also the, sorry, awkward angle, I apologize, is also the literally dead book club pick, and it's The Ending Writes Itself, and that was for Border. The like other theme for Buzzword this month is Border, and I'm gonna say that's a Border and that's a Border, because I think this is supposed to be a book. Yeah, it is supposed to be a book, but like there's multiple borders on here, so that's what I'm using it for. And it just ties in that it's also the literally dead book club pick, so works out for me. I have not actually read a lot from, is this my slip? Oh, this is my slip actually. Oh, look at that. This is a writing duo. Yeah. So Kat Clark is, so yes, Evelyn Clark is V.E. Schwab and Kat Clark. I've read a book by V.E. Schwab. I'm not sure I've read anything by Kat Clark, but that doesn't mean anything because sometimes I don't remember because it mentions YA. But this is a thriller and focuses on 6 authors, 1 private island, 72 hours to write the ending that will change their lives. And that's all I'm going to tell you. I very much enjoyed How to Survive a Horror Story. Is that? Yeah, How to Survive a Horror Story. And You Are Fatally Invited. I thought those were both fun. And this is giving me that kind of tone, similar general setup. So I'm very curious. But that will be my other buzzword prompt and fill out the Literally Dead book club pick. So yeah, so I might start that today. I might not. I don't really know what we're doing. We didn't make solid plans for this weekend, besides the thing with Krista's side of the family. All of that was very confusing, and literally that wasn't even solidified until Thursday. And you can tell how solidified it was if I didn't even know I was invited. But we don't have any like official plans for tomorrow. I have not checked with my, Yep, I should message her. Normally we FaceTime the Ohio contingent, aka Ohio Mom, and I haven't messaged her yet, but I should do that to see if she wants to FaceTime tomorrow. Also, the cats pushed some stuff. Sorry, I like looked over and I was like, why is my stuff in weird spots? This is rambly now. I'm gonna go hang with the dogs. I'm gonna go put on some kind of television. Probably, I had it on a baking show in the background, so I'll probably pop that on and just wait for Krista to come home. Because again, we haven't made any plans. I have no idea. I don't think we're doing anything really. Or we need, yeah. But I'm gonna go. So I will talk to you when I have some kind of update. Probably on the ending rights itself. Maybe if we have weekend plans we decided to do, I'll fill you in on those. But for now, I'm gonna go. So, see ya. Sometime later this weekend, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. We're back in the office. I had to do a bunch of stuff for work. It is the very start of my lunch break, so I'm gonna be quick. But I needed to be in the office because I needed to like have a bunch of stuff and set up hardware. It was a whole thing. But I've been in the office all morning. So we're gonna get some office shots, which I know you haven't had in a very long time. But I'm here. I'm actually wearing my Krampus shirt. It matched my leggings. And I wanted to feel put together today because I had a lot of meetings to start the day. But I am on part 2 of the ending rights itself. So I thought I would give you like general thoughts so far without spoiling anything. Really in the synopsis, it kind of fits part 1. So telling you isn't a huge deal. So a number of writers have been invited to this island that was owned by, oh my gosh, Arthur Fletch. And they have 72 hours to write the ending of his incomplete manuscript. So the book in question is the final book in his Plutarch series, and his agent and his new editor have brought these people together because the editor herself, not the editor, the agent is aware of these people and their work and has kind of brought a diverse collection of writers to come and compete. So and I say diverse collection in regard to like their writing styles, like what their genre is. So in the first section, everyone is referred to at the header by their genre, so that's how I'm going to stick to it right now, and then it does switch into their names, it looks like in section 2. But in section 1 we meet the thriller writers, who are a husband and wife duo named, you don't even know the name though, it's fine, we're not gonna give it. The thriller writers who write kind of a meh series. They write a lot of them, but they haven't really won any awards, and it's really annoying the wife. Oh, they are barking a lot. So just a lot of barks happening. It's Bruni. He's barking at something. I don't know what it is. He's not gonna stop. Hold on. So normally I would just like let him bark it out at this point because I'm up here. But he had the hiccups, and when he barks too much, it makes the hiccups come back. So he needs to not bark. Like the barking needs to not occur so he doesn't get the hiccups, because the hiccups freak him out. So if I'm up here and he starts hiccuping, I can't help him. So I just basically looked down the stairs and was like, stop, you have to stop. So hopefully he'll stop. Anyway, the husband and wife duo, the wife is actually like very irritated. She also is irritated at her husband consistently. Like she does not want to be anywhere around him, but they are writing together. They write as a duo under one pen name, much like Evelyn Clark is one name for two people. Though I'm very sure this writing duo gets along far better. So we've met them. They're kind of they're not our initial person, but we meet them. We also meet the debut writer. She technically has not had anything published yet, but she is our intro to the story. And she is like, she feels very out of place because she's submitted things, and she actually is signed to the same agent as Arthur Fletch. And that agent has said, like, I think you could be the next Arthur Fletch, but she's in this competition. Like, they didn't just pick her immediately to write the ending. And then there's the romance novelist, who has done her research. There's the YA novelist, who is very freaked out about all of this because while her books are very popular, she needs to be present on social media, she says, and they're basically locked out of anything. NDAs, you can't be on your internet, like no internet, NDA, can only use typewriters. So she is a bit panicked. There's then a sci-fi writer and a horror writer. The sci-fi writer is established as someone not a lot of people are very, kind of, no one really likes him. Some of the women think he's attractive, but no one particularly likes him, it seems like. And then the horror writer really enjoys writing, but they have kind of set him up as a character who's very much thinking about murder, though he's like, it's murder on the page, like. But I think that so far, based on my guesses as to how the story is going to progress, the horror novelist and the sci-fi novelist feel the most expendable to me. Neither one of them is a character that I am rooting for. They have not gotten a lot of play in the first section, but I could be very wrong. I'm just like I don't really feel connected to them. The YA novelist has gotten, did she even get, I think she did, a solo chapter. We don't really know a ton about her. We know a bit more about the romance novelist. We know the most about the thriller writers, but I think that's in part because they are a duo. Now, opening section 2, the wife, whose name is Sienna, she is the first chapter by herself. So I think from this point forward, we may switch between individuals and then perhaps them as listed as the writers, but I don't know that for certain. They are all being tasked with writing the ending of this book. They've been given the final book, they were told to read it, and then they'll be writing the ending. And again, they only have 72 hours. On top of that, it is a blind judging is what they're explaining. So each writer, and I say that because the thriller writers are in one room and have only access to one typewriter, you will be writing on specific colored paper, and that colored paper matches your room. The judges of this, the editor and the agent, do not know what room anyone is in. So they do not know the color paper you will be submitting to them. So that's how this is going to work. It is intriguing. We've also gotten into the, do we actually know if he's dead? Because that seems like a thing you would want to include, because he's also, Fletch is a mystery writer or thriller, like mystery thriller. So it seems, he is thriller, technically. It seems like a nice twist that you would throw in, especially because I believe there are other books where kind of that setup has occurred. So I'm intrigued. I am enjoying it so far. It's the chapters are relatively short, so it's been a pretty easy read when I've had the time. I just didn't really read over the weekend. We had some Mother's Day plans. We have a rescheduled Mother's Day plan. This was supposed to happen yesterday, but Krista had a horrible allergic reaction to flowers while we were running errands. She's super allergic, and they were everywhere because it was Mother's Day, and she broke out in hives, and we just like canceled anything we had in the evening. So yeah, but I'm gonna keep reading this. My hair's doing a weird thing. I'm trying to ignore it. But it's doing a weird thing, and I am not washing my hair until tomorrow. So there's a reason for that. I'm gonna try and finish this actually so I can start a new vlog on Wednesday. Here's hoping. Because I have a plan and I would like to make that plan work, but that does involve me finishing, oh, my battery needs charge, finishing this by Tuesday. So we're gonna see how that goes. I'm gonna go though, because battery, and I need to eat. So I will talk to you end of the day, somewhere along there, my dear Gremolinos, but I'll talk to you later. Hello, Gremolinos. Oh, I knew there'd be barking. I knew as soon as I started this there would be barking. I guess one sec, Gremolinos. We're gonna hope the silence holds, Gremolinos, because I finished The Ending Writes Itself. And, okay, I had a fun time. I think this is a fun read. I do think this is a well done duo writing. I like can't, when I read, oh gosh, The Talisman, that is like a Stephen King, Straub collab. I could tell like who wrote what solely because I had read other work by King. I could not have told you that this was not one person, so that's solid, very solid. I did also think it was a good slow burn. Things don't kick off right away. They do hint that there's probably a killer in their midst in the synopsis, and note is a killer in their midst. Also, Bruni is still barking. He stopped, and I hear him sporadically. This isn't gonna be a long clip. Again, fun time. I would say don't think too hard. If you're someone who wants to solve it, please go ahead. But this is a book that I think benefits from you just like laying back and letting yourself go along with the ride. The sections do switch up, so you get sections for different characters, some different reveals for different characters, which was fun. Some backstory is kind of floated in a little bit. So it is a fun time. I am curious to see how this goes as a Literally Dead book club pick, because it does very much remind me of a book I mentioned that I believe was a previous Literally Dead book club pick that also involves authors. I'm not going to tell you which book I mentioned that it reminds me of, but it does remind me of one of them. And as I was continuing to read it, I was like, yeah, this is, I wouldn't say reminiscent exactly. They are different ideas in part, but still I was seeing parallels between the two books, and I do believe it's because the stories just lend themselves to that comparison. But I did have fun. I thought the characters were interesting. I do think if you think too hard, you'll figure it out. So if you do want to figure it out, please feel free. I think you'll guess it. I think you'll guess it if you like really go in. I got to a point where I was like, oh, I think I know it's like what's going on here. But I kind of tried to push it out of my brain just because I was having a good time. I wish we had explored more of the house itself. There are some suggestions that there are things in the house, like secret passages, panels, that kind of stuff. We don't get into that very much, and I kind of would have liked to see more of that. Also maybe more of an exploration of the island itself, because it sounded interesting. That may be because in the other book, that I'm thinking of, that did occur. But overall I liked it. Bruni is whining, which makes me think something. So before I close this out, I will be right back. I'm gonna go check on them for a sec, so please hold on, and please disregard my hair being an unruly mess. I'll be right back. And we're back, grumbly nose. It was all fine. I wanted to make sure Krista didn't need my help with outs, since I was finishing up this clip, and I was so close, and I was like, are you good? And she was fine. So, yes. So I did enjoy this. I do think if you've read one of the other books I talked about, this one maybe as fun for you or not as fun. I'm really not sure, but it did remind me of the other book. Still enjoyed it, but if I had read this one first, I probably would have preferred it. Maybe? It's been a minute since I read the other one. I don't know. Enjoyment level is probably about the same. But I think the other one was more grisly, so maybe I'll give it to that one. But yeah, it was a fun time. I know I said in my previous like intro, I think it was in the intro, I said I was gonna read The Cut as part of the like creepy covers, but because I do want to start a new vlog on Wednesday, and I have thankfully finished this book in plenty of time because it's still Monday, I am not gonna try and squeeze that one in. I'm just gonna add it to a vlog I'm gonna do to kind of tie up this month, or possibly earlier. I haven't decided. They're just like weird books that I have checked out. Like I have a weird book checked out from the library. I had a hold come in suddenly that I did not expect at all. So like I have 2 library books. Then The Cut I own, so I can read it whenever, and I have a new release that I super want to read. So like just stuff. I have stuff. So it'll get read. It'll get read before too long. Hopefully before June. Because in June I like retool my entire TBR and just kind of read anything gay that strikes my fancy. But yeah, so I think that is everything. I enjoyed the books in this vlog. And also this finishes Buzzword for May. This is my Borders and what is it? Borders and something. Yeah, we're just gonna say Borders and something because I don't remember. But this does that, and it's literally Dead Book Club pick. So yeah, I think that's it. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Yeah. And I will see you in the next one, Grumbly Nose.